If the role becomes part of who I thought I was, what happens when the role changes? Now, I've spent a lot of time thinking about that question because eventually every role changes. Children grow up, the people you help become more independent, the people you've invested in start building their own lives. And that's exactly what should happen. And that is the very definition of success. But I've learned something interesting about success. Sometimes success changes the very thing that gave your life structure. I've experienced that more than once. As a father, as a mentor, as someone who spent years walking alongside people through important seasons of their life. The relationship didn't disappear. They obviously still matter to me, but the role itself had changed. And when the role changed, I found myself asking a question that I wasn't even expecting. Who am I now? Not because something was wrong, not because someone had left, and not because the relationship stopped mattering, but because part of how I understood my own self was connected directly into that role. And when the role changed, I realized how much of my identity had been attached to it. I think a lot of people experience that. Certainly parents do, teachers do, coaches do, leaders do. Anyone who spends years investing in other people eventually learns that lesson. Because one day life is going to ask a question that we're just not prepared for. If you're not your role, then who are you? Now, the more I reflect on my own life, the more I realize that's the same question hiding underneath this entire journey. If I'm not my career, if I'm not my performance, if I'm not the roles that I play, then who am I? And maybe before I can answer that question, I need to understand why being needed feels so much like being valuable. Because I think that's where the story goes next.